DJI Pocket 4P versus Luna Ultra. After intense testing for the last month, I've been heavily comparing these cameras through my YouTube videos for the last month. And today, I want to share with you my final thoughts on which one would I personally choose if I had to pick between these two. Obviously, I am going to keep both of them because I make YouTube videos. But if I had to choose only one camera, I would definitely go for the Pocket 4P. If you want to know the exact reasons why, keep watching this video. And also, today's video is sponsored by Taurus, but more on them a bit later in the video. So first of all, let's start with the overall user experience, which I prefer on the Pocket 4P for the most part, at least. Like, the menu system, in my opinion, is a bit more polished and clean on the Pocket 4P compared to the Luna Ultra. For example, I love doing manual exposure shots because it gives me better results. And in my opinion, it's a bit quicker to do with the Pocket 4P than the Luna because you can see the shutter speed and ISO at the same time in one window. Whereas with the Luna Ultra, you have to jump between windows to adjust the ISO and shutter, which makes it significantly slower than the Pocket 4P. Also, the internal storage is a big one with the Pocket 4P. You get 103 gigabytes on the Pocket 4P compared to only 47 gigabytes on the Luna Ultra. I only use the internal storage because it is more convenient. I don't have to use an SD card, but also when transferring data, it is a bit quicker than with the micro SD card. And guess what? The transfer speeds on the Pocket 4P are significantly quicker than on the Luna Ultra, and I create a lot of videos, and if it makes it quicker to transfer data on the Pocket 4P, it's definitely a win for me. And overall, to me, the Pocket 4P is a bit more reliable. I've been using, like I said, these cameras for the last month extensively, and I've never had a single issue with the Pocket 4P. Whereas with the Luna Ultra, I've had some glitches and freezes. Like, for example, sometimes I would try to turn off the camera and then the power off icon would freeze on the screen completely with some color artifacts at the same time, and then I would have to wait for a couple of minutes for it to completely disappear, whereas something like that never happened to me with the Pocket 4P. So for me, the Pocket 4P feels a bit more reliable when using it, a lot compared to the Luna Ultra. Also, I do love this wireless remote on the Luna Ultra to be able to see myself, compose my shots, expose my shots, and so on. And also you have like a wireless audio directly in this remote, but sometimes it also lags and freezes, and when trying to put it back into the camera, sometimes it will show you a message that you have to clean the contacts on this remote for it to work again with the camera, which is more finicky, if you will. Obviously, you don't get this experience with the Pocket 4P because you cannot remove the screen from the camera, and this is very convenient, like I said, to be able to expose yourself, compose your shots, and so on. But it's just sometimes it doesn't work, and it's frustrating, if you will. And also, the screen mechanism on the Luna Ultra is significantly more loose than the mechanism on the Pocket 4P. For example, if I'm gonna try to swipe down from the top left corner, I might close the camera because it is so sensitive, whereas on the Pocket 4P, it is significantly more sturdy, if you will, so you can swipe in any direction you want, and you're not going to turn off the camera or switch to vertical mode by accident. So I definitely prefer this on the Pocket 4P because, you try to adjust the settings, you don't want to turn off the camera by accident, basically. The only few things that I like about the Luna Ultra in terms of like user experience compared to the Pocket 4P are, one, the joystick. I like the joystick more on the Luna Ultra. It reminds me of the Pocket 3 joystick that I personally like more than the Pocket 4 and 4P joystick. Also, this camera comes with a hard shell protective case in the box, whereas the Pocket 4P does not, but these cases are only like $10–20. Links to some of them are going to be down below. And also, sometimes I would get like autofocus issues when it comes to like pulsing and hunting with the Pocket 4P, whereas something like that never really happened to me with the Luna Ultra. So maybe the autofocus performance is a bit more reliable on the Luna Ultra compared to the Pocket 4P. Now, before we move on, a quick word from today's video sponsor, Taurus, with their O-Stand Q3 Air case, which I've been using with my iPhone 16 Pro Max for the last couple of weeks. This unique everyday case offers up to 12-foot drop protection with 4 airbag corners that compress and rebound to absorb impacts, along with significantly raised edges to help protect the display and camera lenses. The buttons are super clicky and fully customizable, which is cool if you want to customize your case. There's also a 360-degree rotatable kickstand, which I use for video calls or to film something quickly. This kickstand is magnetic with 18N magnets and MagSafe compatible, which allows me to quickly charge my phone or attach it to one of my MagSafe tripods. And finally, my favorite thing about this case is definitely how it feels in the hand. It's really lightweight, and the dot matrix grip system on the sides is just awesome. This is definitely the best iPhone case I've ever used. If you want to check it out for yourself, link is going to be down below. Thank you, Taurus, for sponsoring today's video. And now let's continue to stabilization and tracking performance between these cameras. When doing this, basically selfie vlogging and using the tracking feature at the same time, so no matter where I'm going to move, the camera is going to follow me, I think the Luna Ultra actually performs better, because if you pay attention, especially to the corners of the frame, you will see that the Pocket 4P is a bit more jittery compared to the Luna Ultra. I don't know what happened to DJI. The Pocket 3 was pretty much perfect in this regard, no issues at all. But with the Pocket 4 and Pocket 4P, when doing selfie vlogging and using the tracking feature at the same time, there is definitely some stabilization jitteriness. However, if I'm going to flip these cameras around, to me the stabilization performance is pretty much identical. I don't see a significant difference between these two. Both of them perform really well in my opinion. Maybe when moving the camera super quick, the Pocket 4P is a bit more smooth, but honestly it is negligible. Not a big difference in my opinion. Just for reference, here is how these cameras perform with the 3x lenses when it comes to overall stabilization. Let's do like a pan shot. But where there is a big difference between this camera is definitely with the tracking. If you're going to position these cameras on a tripod and basically move around the frame like so, I feel like the movement on the Pocket 4P is slightly smoother than on the Luna Ultra, especially when using the telephoto lenses, which I'm going to do soon. So let's do a couple of tests in here. Maybe also I'm going to hide behind this tree just to confuse these cameras. Both of them are still kind of tracking me, as you can see, with no problems. Let me position the cameras in there and hide behind these bushes. See which camera recaptures me a bit quicker. Yeah, both of them are pretty good. It's just the movement on the Ultra feels a bit more jittery with steps compared to the Pocket 4P. All right, and now I'm using the 3x lenses on these cameras. And as you can see, if I'm going to move from side to side, it is definitely a bit smoother on the Pocket 4P compared to the Luna Ultra. Let me try again and hide behind the tree. Okay, both of them still work. Right, and finally, let's talk about the image quality, which I definitely prefer on the Pocket 4P compared to the Luna Ultra. First of all, if you're going to use auto exposure settings, no log profiles, nothing at all, no color grading, which is what I'm doing right now. You're gonna use one of the film tone presets. I'm using right now the pastel preset on the Pocket 4P and then the post film preset on the Luna Ultra. You're going to get pretty good results from both cameras. It's going to be up to personal preference. I think actually out of camera skin tones look a bit nicer on the Luna Ultra, but the sharpness is a bit better on the Pocket 4P. Also, the Luna Ultra has 8K, but unfortunately you cannot use these film presets when shooting in 8K, only in 4K basically. But still, out of camera, they look more or less the same, even in low light, more or less the same. Maybe the Pocket 4P is slightly sharper in low light and the Luna Ultra applies more noise reduction to the image, but still it is more or less the same. But if you are going to switch to the 3x lenses, like I'm doing right now, you're going to get more background blur with the Pocket 4P compared to the Luna Ultra, regardless of the film profile you're going to use. And I personally prefer a more blurry background look because it looks more like a mirrorless camera, like a professional camera. But if you want the background to be more in focus when using the telephoto lenses, you would like the Luna Ultra more. But if you are someone like myself who likes to color grade your shots in post-production to get the best image quality possible, the Pocket 4P is just better, especially with the new D-Log 2 profile, which is honestly super impressive. It is the best log profile I've ever used in any camera for that matter, even better than S-Log 3 on my $2,000 full frame camera. It is that impressive. The dynamic range performance is insane, and also the exposure latitude, you can like overexpose by about 4 stops before you start breaking apart the image, or underexpose by about also like 4 stops, and still be able to recover all that information in post-production. iLog is okay, but it's nowhere near the performance of D-Log 2 on the Pocket 4P. Now, unfortunately, the D-Log 2 profile is limited to only the 1x lens on the Pocket 4P, so you cannot use it on the 3x lens. But even D-Log, in my opinion, is slightly better than iLog on the Luna Ultra because of the shadow performance, of like the noise performance. If you're going to film in a slightly darker environment with D-Log and then iLog on the Luna Ultra, you're going to get slightly cleaner results with D-Log from the Pocket 4P, especially when exposing to the right, than with the iLog profile on the Luna Ultra. The Luna Ultra in low light conditions looks very mushy and soft. There is a lot of noise reduction applied to the footage, especially when using iLog, and it makes the image feel a bit more cheap compared to the image on the Pocket 4P. So to summarize, I definitely prefer the Pocket 4P than the Luna Ultra because of the better user experience. Overall, the menu system is a bit cleaner. You get more internal storage, faster transfer speeds. The camera overall is more reliable, at least from my personal experience. The tracking performance is definitely better, especially when using the 3x lens. And then the image quality is just better on the Pocket 4P. The log profile is better with wider dynamic range performance. The low light performance when using the log profiles is better. And the camera overall is slightly cheaper than the Luna Ultra, which makes it even better. It's about like $70–80 cheaper than the Luna Ultra. I would say if you want maybe like a fun camera to use, you might enjoy the Luna Ultra. It is not a bad camera per se, it's pretty good, but it's just if you want something more technical, more reliable, you will enjoy the Pocket 4P more, at least as of now. Maybe down the line, Insta360 is going to update the firmware and make the camera a bit better because it is their first gimbal camera, if you will, and DJI has been doing it for like 4 or 5 generations. But still, as of now, I prefer the Pocket 4P as opposed to the Luna Ultra. Anyhow, let me know down below what you think, and don't forget to check out the Taurus case if you want a new case for your iPhone, also down below. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching.